I almost think of London as the center of the financial universe in a way. I know it pulls here and there, Singapore, New York and stuff, but this is what they're touching upon now is why these are the reasons why they make so much money. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see why London dominates. Hello and welcome back. Today I'm jumping into and reacting to the economy of the United Kingdom. We've done a lot about the culture, a lot about the history, a lot more to come in those, their geography, your wonderful pubs. And I want to get a sense now of the economy. How is the economy of the United Kingdom? I grew up always knowing that the economy of the UK has been strong. It's always been a powerhouse in the world, for a long time. Much longer than, a lot of countries have been around. So we went through how the UK has been dominant at many things, from its inventions to its navy, its advances in science, and absolutely countless other things. I would like to see the financial side, the economy side of the UK. I know their financial sector is massive, one of the best in the world. I think it's between London as the center and New York, between kind of like the powerhouses of the world currently, if I'm correct with that. I know their tourism is through the roof, also one of the best in the world. So a lot of money pouring in through that way. I remember when I went to, I forget where it was either Scotland or Ireland when I was younger, and 9/11 recently happened. I think we went in 2001. Maybe 2002, but it was kind of like the first time they started seeing tourists again through the towns and cities that we went to. They're very, thrilled to see people kind of coming back and traveling again. So before I get too sidetracked, let's start this video and let's see what this is all about. Let me see what your economy is all about. And I'm going to stay away right now out of fear of Brexit. I will not go near that, at least right now. I've been debating on doing a video on Brexit, mainly because I don't know much about it. To me, as an outsider, it just seems like a big jumbled mess. Maybe it's not as quite of a mess as I think, but I don't know if I should do a video. Let's see how this is.
This is England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, collectively making up the United Kingdom, a country of countries, but different from the country of countries that was the British Empire, which has now devolved into the Commonwealth of Nations. Confused? Good, because the economy of the United Kingdom gets even better from here. For the sake of this video, we will mostly be looking at the economy of the United Kingdom as a collective glob, which is this minus this. But it is important to remember all of these because they will be important later. The economy of the United Kingdom is really a tale of two cities. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times.
It's funny that he said Tale of Two Cities. This is not on topic at all, but I'm currently reading that book, so that's funny.
It's an economy with the highest levels of foreign investment per capita in the world. And it is an economy with a major poverty crisis. It is an economy that is home to the second largest financial center in the world, and yet its entire economy is smaller than that of California.
A few things already. My major in college, university, was finance. So I really enjoy this kind of stuff. My job's in finance. I've always had jobs in more kind of the financial sector. Already they mentioned that it's the second largest financial center in the world. I think that goes back and forth with New York. It might be London next year or this year or 3 years from now and a couple years in a row. I think it's been kind of bouncing back and forth with New York. Yeah, that's props to London, that's for sure. And two, how bad is the poverty rate there and even homelessness? Is that a big issue there? Is it kind of like the simmering issue that's getting worse, better? How is that? I know I'm in mainly the touristy areas of these cities, but I do walk around all the time. Take trains everywhere, I'm taking buses everywhere. I never really see anything that bad ever. I really don't see homelessness. I mean, gypsies are a thing over, I don't know about the UK. I always think of, more Europe when I think of gypsies, but they aren't a thing here. I just want to know how bad it is there with poverty and homelessness.
It's this one that I really want to focus on though. The United Kingdom is a country heavily dependent on its financial services industry, to a level that brings it in line with nations like Singapore and Hong Kong, which in and of themselves are basically just giant cities full of banks.
I like
London
that.
and New York trade back and forth for the title of the world's largest financial centre.
Yep.
As of recording this video, New York holds a slim lead over London, but depending on when you actually watch it, it is possible that this league could have changed hands all over again. This, for the most part, sounds brilliant. A strong financial services sector is hugely beneficial to a national economy. It creates thousands of extremely high-paying jobs and can attract profits from all over the world to be introduced to the local economy. And the United Kingdom is a great example of this. London is home to the offices of over 500 banks, from small banks with local operations in the area to major international banks like HSBC, which stands for the Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation, but has its global headquarters in London. Yeah, I don't know. But there has got to be something more going on here. Banks will set up shop wherever there is money to be made, and on the surface, London doesn't actually seem that lucrative. The New York Stock Exchange, located in Lower Manhattan, is by far the largest securities exchange in the world. It is an open market to buy and sell the shares of some of the largest corporations in the world. It has a monthly trading volume of over 1.45 trillion US dollars. Conveniently, New York is also home to the Nasdaq, the world's second largest securities exchange, which trades around 1.25 trillion US dollars per month. These two exchanges alone are collectively worth over $2.5 trillion in trading volume in a single month in one city. The London Stock Exchange, for comparison, is pretty unremarkable, with monthly trading volumes of around 220 billion US dollars. What is more is that Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, and Amazon, just 4 companies listed on these American exchanges, have a larger market capitalization position than the entire London Stock Exchange.
Maybe I'll put some sort of graph here. Yeah, those companies are absolutely massive. The US, I think it's the US and China mainly have the biggest companies in the world. I forget what the market cap of Apple is. It's going up so much. Apple is brought up a lot. They have so much money, so much cash on hand that they're losing an obscene amount of money, like millions or tens of millions of dollars every day on inflation alone. So they're trying to use that money, that cash that they are getting, on anything they can. They're buying companies, they're buying startups, they're buying properties, buying land. They're just throwing their money wherever they can just to not have it burning in cash.
So, how does this make sense? The banking industry in New York is attracted to these huge securities and trading markets of the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq, as they are huge markets for everything from pension funds to high-frequency trading firms to invest in and try and generate returns from. This in turn creates a financial ecosystem for runoff markets like accounting and legal firms to service this trading, and suddenly, the financial monolith of New York starts to make sense. But London, for comparison, is home to a market 1/10 the size of New York's, and yet London is still a financial centre that goes toe-to-toe with Manhattan. The secret here is that London is pretty unconcerned in general with IPOs, stock buybacks, hedge funds, and wild speculation. They prefer a selection of more elegant financial services for a more civilized age. They are happy to leave the stock speculation business to the riffraff over in the colonies. The real secret to success of London as a financial centre is in the services it provides, and not in the markets it accommodates. London is a major centre for the trading of foreign exchange derivatives, Eurozone bonds, and it is home to a disproportionate amount of family offices.
I almost think of London as the center of the financial universe in a way. I know it pulls here and there, Singapore, New York and stuff, but this is what they're touching upon now is why these are the reasons why they make so much money. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see why London dominates, why London, and I mean, this is basically they're talking about London. I know they're saying, the video says the economy of the UK. What percent of the economy of the UK is London? I would love to know that, even if it's like a rough estimate. I would love to know.
A family office is effectively an investment bank with one client, either an extremely wealthy family or an individual. It is normally assumed that Bill Gates, the wealthiest man in the world, sucker Jeff, has most of his wealth coming from Microsoft shares. The reality is today, Microsoft doesn't even make up a quarter of his portfolio. He is invested in a wide variety of businesses through his family office, which is rumoured to be a secretive organisation operating in an undisclosed building in Manhattan. Gates reportedly employs a team of around 40 people to manage his investments, and if you ever manage to call through to the fund, they will ask how you got the number, hang up on you, and then change the phone line. This is all conjecture, which I can neither confirm nor deny, but Family offices are surprisingly big businesses the world over, and London is the epicenter of these offices. Extremely wealthy old moneyed elite from across the world want a few things from their family offices. Stability above all else. There should be no eventuality where money will ever run out.
And just talking about stability, like they touched upon earlier, the US speculating so much, IPOs, money's flying left and right out the door, making tons, losing tons, whereas London seems more stable and honestly kind of more smart with their investments, not like the Wild West over here. So I would perhaps even consider, I mean, I don't have that much money, but I would consider London as well and look at their track record. It seems like, I would guess their track record is better than New York.
God forbid the beneficiaries of these funds should ever have to work. You will also want to see a return on these investments. It is no good having all this money if it won't make more money. You have caviar and champagne to buy. You also want to avoid some taxes if at all possible. The money is for you. You want to keep every last cent. London kind of ticks all of these boxes. Sure, you could probably get better returns in New York with their fast-paced, high-volume security markets, but we are talking about old money for some of these family offices. Like, so old money that they were established before Wall Street was established. Sure, the Americans can have their fun, but for a true intergenerational family office, you would only trust a financial city with over 500 years of history or greater. It is something I repeat over and over and over again on the channel, but stability is the foundation of any kind of market or economic system. Perhaps just by virtue of its age and stability, London is the go-to for some of Europe's elite to set up their family offices.
That was very good. Very, very true. Did not think of that.
One of the other big points of note is taxation. Now, we have explored corporate tax schemes on this channel before when we looked at the Netherlands. When it comes to minimising tax for individuals, the rules are a little bit looser. Typically, when you think of tax havens, you think of the Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Bermuda, the Turks and Caicos, and Montserrat. And you notice something all of these places have in common? Yep, they are all British territories. A hangover from the time when England was a fan of sticking their flag on every spit of land it could ram a square rigger into. The City of London, not to be confused with London, is like a city-state within the greater city of London, within England, within the United Kingdom, within the Commonwealth. And this city acts as a sort of central location to conduct business with all of these British tax havens in a way that is far too complicated to get into in a single video. But it is super interesting, and I will leave a feature-length documentary link in the video description for people that are interested in that.
That's interesting because I just reacted to a video of the City of London, like the square mile City of London, and then London outside of it, kind of the history of that. And I haven't reacted to yet, but I'm going to, of the government addition to that, and I think it kind of dives into this, it touches upon that. Exciting, it's all coming together, slowly but surely.
What it does mean is that people setting up family offices in London not only get to park their money in one of the most established and secure financial centres in the world, but they also get access to a world-class tax offshoring network that they can conveniently control from the City of London. This explains another anomaly with the economy of the United Kingdom. It is the world's 7th largest economy by GDP, but it attracts the 2nd highest rate of foreign investment in the world, only just falling behind the United States. But now we know this is caused by businesses, institutions, and individuals trying to set up their financial future in London for all of the amazing services it offers.
It's selling me if I ever become super rich.
Okay, so this is great. The financial services sector of the United Kingdom is obviously very important for the country, the region, and the world economy. But there is more to the United Kingdom than just that. The thing is, though, for the most part, the economy is kind of just average for a modern developed country. Which is not meant to be rude. I mean, it's just average by a lot of metrics. It is.
I love those views. I know this has nothing to do with the video, but I love these, what was it, chalk cliffs? It's made of chalk. Spectacular. I love it. I still need to do a video and find a video that goes over the geography, nature, lake districts of the UK and Ireland. All right, moving on.
Just average by a lot of metrics. It is a large economy, certainly, but amongst the developed countries around the world, it's just about average, especially when you look at GDP per capita. It has average wealth inequality and has had pretty average growth over previous decades. This sounds like an insult, but in many ways it's really a compliment. The United Kingdom set out the
Stability.
frameworks for many modern developed nations like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, India, South Africa, and even the United States, although they would never admit it. But these countries did adopt a lot of their fundamental economic structures from the United Kingdom. They have since, of course, added their own flair to the British system to varying degrees of success.
You all are going to hate me because I'm stopping this so much. But in the video that I reacted to, if you watched it, of how many places Britain conquered, England and then later on Britain, conquered in the world, it was something like a third of the landmass and a quarter of the world's population. And I really do think that they are the reason why those countries are doing so well today, because they put these foundations down. And I talked in the comments a lot of times to people, just in the discussions, and you look at them today, and a lot of them are, not all of them, I know, but a lot of them are pretty well off nowadays, if not thriving. I think they did a lot of good.
And what this means is that these countries tend to form an average around the default system, which is the United Kingdom. This effect has actually been studied closely amongst ex-colonies of the British Empire, and if nothing else, it is an interesting case study in causal statistics. This kind of British unremarkableness is actually quite a good thing though. An economy that is content to plod along is highly desirable for a lot of businesses, even outside of the financial sphere we have explored earlier. The United Kingdom was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, but today it is home to much more high-end manufacturing centres. Sure, mass production has gone to more cost-competitive markets like China and India, but the United Kingdom still has a thriving industry for producing things like high-end motor cars. Think Bentley, Range Rover, Jaguar, Aston Martin, McLaren. All products where price isn't necessarily an issue, but quality is. The same is true for other types of high-end manufacturing. Rolls-Royce is normally known for their cars, but their primary business is actually building jet engines, which is an incredibly profitable and capital-intensive industry which is taking part in the United Kingdom. If you take nothing else away from this video, just remember that the United Kingdom has always been a country that influences and is influenced by the world. Today, it receives and makes investments way above its weight class on the global market. It exports high-end goods and has a larger balance of trade than many countries that look larger on paper. The country has realised that it is a small rock in the Atlantic Ocean. The key to securing prosperity in the past, present and future is to leverage its stability and be a fantastic middleman for the world's economy, which has served it well, and I can't envisage any reason that this system could not continue into the future to raise living standards for all of the residents of the... Ooh. Yeah. This is going to need its own video. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this one.
Was that
This video
Brexit?
made
Was that Brexit? Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if I should do Brexit or not. For myself, I would watch one. I don't know if I want to do one with everyone. I don't know. Seems like a very hot topic. Someone in the comments said, in my 1-bedroom rented flat, where I control my vast empire of debt. That was a good one. So I had to say that in the comments. But I would like to know your thoughts about the economy of the United Kingdom. It does seem like they are really heavy hitters when it comes to, when you look at their size and how much wealth goes through them. An immense amount of wealth goes through them every day. And the video explained it pretty well of they are the middleman, it seems like, in the world economy. That was along the lines of my thoughts mid-ish video when I said they're kind of, in a way, the center of the financial world. And I do believe that the economy is here to stay, the dominant economy, no matter what happens in the near future with the financial sector. I think they're just so embedded in the world. That's what they do. They're stable. They've been around and stable for 500 years or more than that. And I think they will continue to thrive. Let me know your thoughts, and if I should dare do Brexit. I don't know if I want to. I definitely do want to. I don't know if I'll do a video on it, but thank you for watching, and until next time, have a good rest of your day. Keep on investing.